For this issue or this segment of Be Your Own Advocate, it's just myself and Isaiah Fleesbach, my co-host. But he's also, such a knowledgeable person about the body and the mind and how everything works that I wanted to talk with him a little bit today, or talk with him about the issue that was in one of our previous segments, which now seems to have the term tech neck, which happens from all of the downward head bending of hours and hours, whether it's a computer or a laptop or a phone. So yeah, so and we did this other segment, and when I would talk to people about it, they would be like, oh yeah, so it is a bigger thing. And how does it affect growth and thinking? And so since you are so wise in all of that, I wanted to hear more of your thoughts on it.
Happy to share. I think it's good to start with really simple reality that the body, the tension we feel in our body is not usually, it's a symptom. It's not usually the problem, right? So for example, in tech neck, we're curled down and forward and in, and these muscles lose tone. They lose function. They kind of go to sleep. And then the back gets stretched and stressed, right?
Yeah.
So in order to protect that, the body has to tighten up all those rear tissues to deal with the instability and disconnect with these. And so the tension becomes our focus, but really we need to open and strengthen and keep these tissues aligned in order for that tension to go away. Just a simple example, but every part of the body works in the same way. We have lower back pain, stiffness all through the back because of lack of mobility and strength on the hip flexors, the quads, the front muscles, the inside muscles, right? And the back's got to get tight to deal with that instability and weakness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So starting to see it that way helps a lot. It's not just a physical, it's a nervous system thing. It's the brain, right? It's repetition of poor posture leading to dysfunction. And we need to correct it through a bunch of different things. But starting number one is just getting a muscle to function through its range of motion with more strength and stability is step one. And that deals with 80% of people's issues. Just being able to track a flexion of a muscle through a range of motion, stay connected to it, don't hand it to the joint, and then bring it home. And doing that over and over helps brain and muscle reconnect and start to function better. It's not always the answer. There's inhibition that supersedes that, like deep emotional or traumatic or other reasons why the body's holding on to tension. It's not going to let go just because you strengthen something. But
say that again. Oh, I like that. Say that again.
We might have inability to function in a muscle or tissue based in trauma that's not going to let go just because we're strengthening it.
Okay.
But in most cases, say 75% of cases, just strengthening and opening and creating mobility through tension in the tissue is enough to make the change that's necessary. So we might as well start there and then work our way up. Just like anything, I start in the least invasive and then work your way to the most invasive. People come in, sometimes they come in and they've been told they need surgery. And it's like, well, what have you done? And they start to list, and they really haven't done very much outside of diagnosed and looked at. I'm like, well,
they haven't been their own advocate for their own.
You need to advocate for yourself and treat that, right? The best of your ability with the lowest impact you can, and then step your way up. The final step being surgery if necessary. It's not that you shouldn't do surgery, but you should exercise all of your options prior to that. Because the issue is once you have surgery, it doesn't correct the problem. It gets rid of the symptoms sometimes, not always, but it doesn't correct the problem. So the same imbalance that led to that joint issue or that dysfunction is still there, and then it's added on because now you've got scar tissue, sutures, cuts, more and more adhesion.
It's harder to heal. So when you work on releasing the muscle tension, does it bring the trauma up to the surface so it's easier to deal with? Or are you just working on the physical and releasing the physical? How do the two of those intertwine?
Yeah, I mean, the initial response to any trauma or like fear or pain, it could be a physical trauma, it could be emotional trauma. We avoid and resist. We pull back, or we try to, we get in resistance. We build resistance to it, obviously. we're geared in our nervous system to protect against pain and to protect and reject fear. So yeah, every time you are willing to work through the length of a tissue, you're going to encounter the emotion and the response and the resistance within that, for sure. And that's the beauty of it, is you can use a physical practice to start to regulate your emotions.
Yeah, that would be so helpful for everybody. But like you said, a lot of people don't consider that when they're looking for a solution to the issue. They'll just kind of sidestep it. But
Yeah. We have
why do you
so
think that is? Why do you think that is, that people just don't address it head on a physical plane like that?
I just think we're a culture that wants a fast fix. We want the pill. We want to just deny the symptom. We want to avoid. We want to drink. We want to do whatever we can to not feel what's here, because we don't have the tools to deal with it. We haven't been educated in our family culture or our culture and society in
Wouldn't
general.
that be great if people actually got educated about, how to take better care of their own health, uh, and their safety, and
Yeah.
how to, what a great thing that would be to teach in schools and have these extra classes. But mostly in schools, because like in health class, it would be such an important thing, because when people get older, they have these issues, and unless they know alternative ways, they
Yeah.
might just not even attempt it, and then they end up, like you said, with all the scar tissue, and it gets harder and harder and harder to get back to ground zero with things.
Yeah. And I think this why I'm excited to do this show is, or one of the reasons is because you have to advocate for yourself. You have to explore for yourself, because the average thing that we're going to receive from the medical or from the educational system is not serving us. It's not really looking at our individual picture and then supporting us and educating us to find solutions. So we've got to do that on our own. We can go to Western medicine for diagnostics and acute care, and it's amazing, and I'm so grateful they're there.
Yeah.
But they are not teaching us how to take care of ourselves. They don't have the time or the skills or the knowledge. We have to look elsewhere for that. We have to develop it ourselves, and we have to prioritize it in our life, not just do it on the weekend. It's got to be a lifestyle, ultimately, for it to stick and have longevity.
Yeah.
So there's no easy answer in that way. But once we start making momentum in the realm of changing habits, improving our health, improving our mobility, our exercise, our mental state, our emotional state, then you start to build a foundation that you're investing in, and then you have incentive to keep investing and to protect that investment.
You know, the spine is, of course, the core of the body, and the nerves that travel out from it, and it's like it's the regulator of the health of the body, I think, a lot of times. And as we get older, it shortens. It seems to shorten. I remember I used to be 5'6". I'm now 5'5" to a stretch. And so, the body is just compressing in its natural way. And I'm a healthy person, and I do stretching and exercise. But I wonder, as that happens, do you think it affects the intercellular communication that comes off of it, so that as this is aging and shrinking, or or compressing, that it affects how the body, how the body communicates with itself? Is it an interference?
1,000,000%. Yeah, think of a child's body and their spongy tissue,
Yeah,
how hydrated it is, and how quick the communication and repair can happen.
right.
And then as things get more and more compressed, they become dry and dehydrated, whether it's fascial tissue or tendon or vertebral tissue. And then, yeah, there's acids in the body that are kind of stealing minerals. We have to buffer the acids at all times through we're taking food in, we're stressing, we don't have the right proper balance of minerals and nutrients. So the body's always pulling from bones and organs and
Oh,
wherever
yeah.
it can get what it needs to buffer the pH of the blood.
So what do
And
you do? What
so we
what?
have mineral and bone loss due to toxicity that needs to be buffered to keep us alive, keep that blood pH exactly where it needs to be. So that's a big part of it. But I think a lot of it is just sitting and being immobile and not doing movements and strengthening in the body that creates decompression, right?
Yeah,
If we If we just let gravity win, we're going to compress. We've got to work against it and maintain that healthy balance. There's a healthy amount of tension we need. We don't want too much, but we definitely don't want to be deficient. That's one of the worst things we can do, is be, weak, because then we have a lot of pain and dysfunction in that place.
So stretching, which is the easiest and what everybody can do, would be the easiest way to approach just stretching.
Yeah, stretching, moving. But again, this is an interesting thing. If I just put my arms out here, and I'm holding wide, right? This actually isn't a stretch. All I'm doing is showing you a range of motion. Range of motion, range of motion.
Yep.
It's not a stretch. The tissue we have to get, for example, I'll give you an example of it. So if it's your bicep, I want you to put your left hand on the hand right here on the left arm, and then resist your right arm as you curl up and flex that bicep to its shortest position, right? Yeah. Then keep resisting with that right arm and push away with the left. Now, as you come down, you're opening that tissue through flexion, right? So all the tension maintains in the muscle belly as it lengthens, and that protects the joint.
Okay.
So the majority of what we're doing is just testing range of motion in yoga and mobility and stuff like that. But if we actually start to apply maximal force through the lengthening phase of any muscle in your body, it'll gain stability, it'll gain strength that's really necessary. It'll help balance out the other side. So we talked about the neck, right? Getting tissues in the front to start to be more active and open, going to release there. So that's kind of dynamic through the whole body. But I have one example I can give you if you want to do a movement with me. Yeah? Okay. So we're going to take our right arm and we're going to weave it over the left, and then reach around and put your hands together, palms to palm. Some people can't do that. It's too tight in there, so you have to hold a towel or something with the top hand, weave it through, and then you can hold the towel and walk your way as close as possible. But it's okay in any position, as long as you can get somewhat upright, create contraction between the hands, and push the elbows into each other. So there's constant squeezing of the arms, like two snakes wrapped really tight. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're bringing our arms up to 90 degrees. We're squeezing hands, squeezing elbows, isometric here.
That in my shoulders.
Yeah, we're just going to breathe and rest and try to pull the shoulders back and down away from the ears as you squeeze the elbows together. So we're just sitting here isometric. It looks like we're doing nothing, but if you're trying this at home, you're going to feel more and more tension building on the right side of your shoulder. And all these tissues over time, the more we hold here, the more tissues get recruited. We go from 10 to 100 to 1,000 fibers of tissues going, oh yeah, I'm awake. What are we doing? Right?
Yeah.
So then we direct it. So the top hand resists with 49% of your strength. Take a nice deep breath in. Push open with the bottom hand. So you're pushing that palm open as you squeeze your elbows together. Good. That's rotating all those little tissues inside to rotator cuff with supportive tension. Then keep resisting with the bottom hand, and the top hand's going to win, turning back towards you as you squeeze the elbows together. Okay, we hold one more time. Nice deep breath. Resist with the top hand. Push it open like a gate or a door with that bottom hand. So you end up saying hi to yourself with that top hand. Breathe in. Exhale, squeeze the elbows, and turn the hands back. And when you let go, you want to keep the elbows locked together and bring the hands close to your sides and slowly down and shake that off. So in the moment, there should be a lot of sensation and fatigue all through the different parts of your arm and shoulder. But when you come out slowly, it should start dissipating and feel like any of those pains have just go away and there's more space.
Yeah.
If you feel pain in the joint as you're doing it or after, then something wasn't right, either in position or amount of squeezing, and we have to adjust and do something different. Okay, so then I would just reverse it. Left over right. We're going to go quick, 1 rep here, just to balance it. So we're squeezing those hands, squeezing those elbows, breathing in deep. Holding steady, Exhaling. So just being in this position alone and breathing in and out is going to give you benefit, lots of benefit. It's going to start to, as we sit here and squeeze the elbows and hands, the fascia starts getting engaged more and more muscle fibers come online, and we start getting the tissue to release through contraction. Okay, so 1 rep, big breath, resist with the top hand. On the exhalation, pushing that top hand open slowly with the bottom hand, squeezing the elbows. Good, nice deep breath in here. Exhale, squeeze that, rotate that hand again back towards you, squeeze the elbows. We do a couple more reps normally, and then we drop the hands, keeping the elbows locked together, close to your side, and let that fade away. So it's just a simple example of how we can use contraction and compression to decompress. So in the moment, it's going to feel like, oh God, I can't, why am I doing this? What is this? And then it should just start to feel more open and more mobile.
Yeah. Great.
Just an example.
A good example. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what I was going to say about muscles, I think that it's really common for us to think there's another way other than the reps themselves. Like we like to think, well, let me just stretch out first and then I'll get comfortable, then I'll do that thing. No. We're here to focus on and experience as much discomfort as possible and to hunt for the instability, because as you fill in those weak links in your body, everything improves in your physical performance, your relationships, your life, right?
Yeah.
But it takes some practice to be able to experience discomfort and know the difference between good pain and bad pain and start to go after good pain with focus and get the benefit from that release.
I like what you were saying about how you wake up the tissues, specifically by, creating that resistance. I guess, is that resistance? Is that the right word for it? Yeah. So, and that's where you get strong again. And I'm sure that then you can do more extensive muscles and exercises and stuff. So
and the average way, people are just going to the gym, they're older, they want to ward off osteoporosis or whatever, and they go to build bone density. So they're adding resistance initially for some reason, and then it takes on more and more meaning as they do it usually. But what I find is that that's effective for a certain level of change.
Yeah.
But after years and decades of dysfunction, we have to go further. And so
how did you learn this, since it's not a normal way of looking at physiology?
I learned this specific technique from the Navy SEAL named Christopher Meyer, and he showed me the initial 3-phase contraction. It's very simple. You learn it day one in PT school, but then everyone forgets it somehow. And we run nationwide PT programs that don't include eccentric resistance, and therefore don't engage and release the fascia, don't provide the opportunity for the muscle and the nerves to flow better, and ultimately for consciousness and mental and emotional self to move as well, right? We're held. If we're held and constricted and distorted, we're not free flowing. Our consciousness, our ideas, our thoughts, our emotions, we're not really ourselves.
Yeah, this is the mind body, the ultimate mind body exercise, physical exercise. We have to do more and more of these exercises. Maybe we'll do like a show where we're just doing the exercises so somebody could have a little bit of a routine, because I think what you're saying is that as we age, we have to be our own advocate for ourselves, as you said in the beginning, so that when we age, so we want to age in the healthiest way possible. We want to keep our height. We want to keep our spines, so that the intercellular communication from our brain to our bodies is at optimum levels. And we have to be responsible for that. But like you said, a lot of people do stretching and basic things, but what you're teaching and talking about is the next level that has to happen. So we're going to have to do more of that.
I experienced, because I did a lot of passive stretching and a lot of different things that left me injured and kind of had chronic issues and not really getting to the root emotionally or mentally of what was blocking me. When I started to use resistance as the core and exploring that and developing 400, 500, 600 different positions and movements in which you can engage different parts of your body to release that. It was like, it's kind of everything in a sense. It's like the foundation, it feels like, that's missing.
Do you find people talk about the emotional release, like after sessions with this? Do they notice, hey, I feel more clear? Probably clarity is probably one of the biggest things that does stand out. Now I get it. Now I understand. Couldn't figure this out. All that type of thing. Is
Yeah.
probably
Lightness, openness. There's a burden lifted. There's
right.
more space. They feel more themselves. They feel more parasympathetic, more relaxed in their nervous system, right? Life gets easier when we're efficient.
Yeah,
It's
efficient
more
exercise.
fun and a lot easier when we're finding our efficiency. So I find that, in the sessions, everyone has deep emotional releases because the fascia is the container and holder of that emotional experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we open up that fascia and have enough time under tension and resistance to open that tissue, boom, the emotions are releasing, the trauma is releasing. If we're in a safe container, things are integrating, and it really does create a permanent change.
That's great.
But if we don't apply more force than the body's holding in a specific tissue or area, it's not gonna change.
Interesting. I love it. Okay. So thank you so much for all of that. Thank you, so here we are, Isaiah and Isabel, from Be Your Own Advocate, finding new and better ways for you to find your health and your mental clarity and your peacefulness and moving on in life as best you can, helping others, right? Helping others and
Yeah.
just trying to understand life. So,
Yeah.
all right, until next time, uh, we are signing off for today. And thanks again. I love everything that you have to say. It's always so interesting. And I love doing these shows with you. I think we're
You
going
too.
to really be able to find and discover lots of things that help people. So,
Isabel, we should do a show or a part of a show just about our story and how, we're family and we found each other in the last few
okay.
years.
All right. That'd be great.
My dad being 75 years old when he found you, his sister,
Yeah.
and talk about our story and the reason why we're doing this and what the connection's about. I think that'd be powerful.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because I guess, like, finding relatives genetically or connections is kind of being an advocate for your
Yeah.
your fullness of your life. Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah.
We
All right.
will
Thank you, Isabel.
have a
See you
good
next-
day. Thank you again. And we will be back again next month.
All right.
Bye.